Someone has lit the rainbow flame and summoned Kim Davis back to the mortal realm to enact her vengeance, consuming gay marriages and storing their power in her poof. Honestly, girl, you are not built for that hairstyle. And any gay person could have helped you with that. It almost feels intentional. Like, coming for marriage equality is bad, but making us look at this again, that's a hate crime. 10 years after legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide, the Supreme Court is now being asked to overturn that very ruling by the woman who values the sanctity of marriage so much, she's had 4 marriages of her own, conceived 2 children outside of her first marriage, and had multiple alleged other affairs. How many of those were men she pulled out of a snowstorm and held captive is unclear. But one thing's for sure, she gives great forehead. And you know what they say, freak in the sheets, God-appointed vigilante homophobe in the streets. As I'm sure you recall, she illegally denied same-sex couples marriage licenses, got sued by a handful of those couples, and lost. Because, as a county clerk acting on behalf of the state, God hates fags is not a valid argument that exempts you from following the law. Well, at least back then, this was 2015. But she didn't care. She was under God's authority, and while apparently God is fine with murderers and rapists, well, actually, yeah, that's accurate. But he's not fine with gay couples, so she continued to refuse them marriage licenses, went to jail for a couple days, met the Pope, and then resumed her job as a county clerk. As one does. Well, now she's back. I guess she's no longer collecting royalties from the Mucinex commercials she starred in, because she's been doing everything she can to get out of paying the damages she owes. And now she's got this lawsuit with the Supreme Court. She's making a big stink. Those gays are not going to get $1 out of me. This whole thing was built on a sham. Gay marriage is unconstitutional. I am the victim, and I deserve justice. So you guys need to reverse the decision on Obergefell v. Hodges and unlegalize gay marriage. Yeah, okay, girl, whatever you say. Sure, let's dismantle same-sex marriage for everyone nationwide because this one woman chose to work a job that didn't align with her bigotry, and while acting on behalf of the government, denied people their rights and broke the law repeatedly, got a slap on the wrist, didn't even lose her job, but she's somehow the victim of religious persecution. Well, when you frame it like that, it sounds ridiculous, right? And from where I'm sitting, that's what it is. But I know that not everybody sees it this way, because this story, like all the news we get, is framed differently depending on who's covering it. If someone only heard Kim Davis's story as told by right-wing news sources, they'd probably see her as a martyr unjustly imprisoned for her religious beliefs, and view the Obergefell v. Hodges decision as government overreach that violates people's freedom of religion and should be overturned. And it's thanks to our sponsor Ground News that we can clearly see exactly what the disconnect here is, and how political bias shapes our media and people's understanding of the important issues that affect us. Their website and app gathers coverage from around the world, breaks down how each story is being covered, and provides key insight on news sources like their political bias, factuality rating, and who owns them. With all the coverage in one place, the bias comparison, and the blind spot feature, I have been able to look outside of my bubble using these tools and see how differently the other side views these issues, which is an essential part of combating misinformation and advocating for our rights. It has completely changed the way that I consume and understand the news by allowing me to distance myself from the sensationalism of each story. I can stay informed while protecting my peace and see the whole picture, which now, more than ever, is so important. Ground News has become an invaluable tool to me, and I cannot recommend it enough. So if you want to support my channel and help me continue the work that I do, you can use my link in the description to get Ground News for just $5 a month. That's 40% off their unlimited access Vantage plan when you go to groundnews.com/Turner, link below, or scan the code on the screen. So now here we are, waiting to find out if the Supreme Court will decide to hear her case and reconsider same-sex marriage, with the current justices and all of their priorities and affiliations and opinions at the wheel. I've seen a lot of people shrugging this whole issue off because they have totally valid reasons why this shouldn't go anywhere. How weak the case is, how there's majority support for same-sex marriage. And so they are correctly pointing out that this shouldn't happen, but it is going to. And I say that not because I just like to doom and cause a panic. I would love to look on the bright side, honestly. But as someone who has been keeping close tabs on what this administration has been doing, specifically with LGBT rights, I don't think it's realistic to expect this one to go away. From what I've seen, there is very little room for doubt that the Supreme Court will hear this case, and if they do, I think it's pretty much without question that they will reverse the decision and overturn same-sex marriage. So I just want to share my opinion, my observations, talk about why I feel that way. There are 3 big reasons why I'm pretty convinced that that's the direction we're heading. Starting with Project 2025. You know, for an admin that claimed to have nothing to do with Project 2025, they sure are following its roadmap to a T. When I made my video talking about how my life has already been affected by the policy changes under Trump, I also talked about the anxiety I was feeling for future changes, and one of those was same-sex marriage being overturned. And while I got so many supportive comments from that video of people feeling the same way, I also got a surprising amount of comments from folks even in the LGBT community saying that my fears were completely unfounded, that I was overreacting, no one's coming for gay marriage, they just want to stop kids from transitioning, and that's all they wanted, so that's where it was going to end. I think the popularity of the, first they came for poem at that time really highlights how much all of us knew that they weren't going to stop when it came to trans kids, and they haven't. Most of us saw the writing on the wall. And it wasn't just speculation, there's a ton of historical evidence for this, but more blatant than that, it was literally laid out in Project 2025. And if we look at the LGBT policy changes in 2025, we've got remove sexual orientation and gender identity from non-discrimination policies, check. Ban and remove trans troops from the military, check. Ban trans healthcare for kids, check. And up next on the chopping block is gay marriage. So it's part of the plan, and now they are being given the option to enact that. So the next reason, let's say red flag number 2, Christian nationalism, and the stranglehold that has on our country right now.
We're bringing back religion in our country, and we're bringing it back quickly and strongly. Because for America to be a great nation, we must always be one nation under God, a phrase that they would like to get rid of, the radical left. But Ben, I don't think we're going to let them get rid of that, right? We're not letting them get rid of that.
So 67% of Republicans believe our laws should be dictated by the Christian Bible, and thanks to the Trump administration, some of the most extreme proponents of that belief are now running parts of the government. Damn, that's crazy. They have like a Christian council that is being run by a TV televangelist. This administration has thrived off of Christian nationalism and playing heavily into Christians' persecution complex, like with the presidential action to eradicate anti-Christian bias. Yeah, in a country where "In God We Trust" is on all our currency, one nation under God is part of the Pledge of Allegiance, churches are tax exempt, 90% of religious buildings in this country are Christian churches, and of course, entire corporations are allowed to identify as Christian in order to deny rights to their employees. Christians are obviously being oppressed, and the Trump administration has been fighting back against that oppression by using the government to force Christianity onto everyone and furthering the actual oppression of various minority groups in the name of God. So, with that being the name of the game, a case like Kim Davis invoking Christian persecution for not being able to use her power as a government official to force her religion on citizens, and then using that claim to take away the rights of a minority group that they all hate. It seems like the exact type of shit they're into. She's handing them the opportunity to undo an Obama-era woke anti-Christian ruling and give the power back to the states, their favorite thing. I think they're going to do it. Which brings me to the third and final red flag, the state of the Supreme Court. Homophobes, in my SCOTUS, more likely than you think. I mean, they really have this on lock. We got the conservative supermajority. They would only need 4 votes, 4 yeses, to hear this case. Justice Alito has been gunning for this. He is foaming at the mouth right now. I just know it. And as I said, they've already set the precedent for returning rights to the states, like with Roe v. Wade being overturned, putting reproductive rights back in the hands of the states, and the recent Scarametti ruling putting trans rights in the hands of the states. Our government's a joke, so the age-old comedy rule of threes would tell us that they're likely not opposed to putting marriage equality in the hands of the states. Now, I've seen people pointing out that because Kim Davis did try in 2020 to appeal to the Supreme Court to have same-sex marriage overturned, and they denied it, that's a sign that they'll deny it again. I fear it is the opposite. Like, we had justices literally agreeing with her, wanting to hear the case and wanting to overturn Obergefell, but said that she didn't have the right argument and needed to present the case a different way in order for it to be heard. So now 5 years later, has she just been sitting on her hands waiting to present the same thing? Or has her legal team locked it down and figured out a new way to approach this? I don't know. What I do know is that the Supreme Court has asked the gay couple on the other side of the lawsuit to file a response, which means it's not an automatic no. They are seriously considering hearing this case. So while I would love to be hopeful and agree with the people who say that it is unlikely for this to happen, that's only true if the people in power are acting in good faith within the system and the rules that we've created. And they stopped doing that a long time ago. Look around you. All of this was supposed to be unlikely. A year ago, it seemed unlikely that the US would have concentration camps. Unlikely that our president would mobilize the military against us and ban acts of free speech. And that, despite not having the authority to make that a crime, the police would act on that and arrest people for doing protected acts of free speech. And unlikely that a mass secret police force would be snatching people off the streets and making them disappear. Living under authoritarian rule in the land of the free in 2025 was supposed to be unlikely. And then it happened. And now every day, a new unlikely thing happens because nobody's stopping them. So if they want to overturn gay marriage, which they've said they do, I think it's going to happen. But yeah, that's just how I see it. That's all I got for you. Get gay married while you can. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, maybe not the content, but the presentation, and if you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up because 1 like equals 1 hunk, and subscribe to join the Goose Troop today. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.